This video is brought to you by Camtasia, the easy-to-use screen recording and video editing software. More about them later in the video. I'm gonna tell you how to make your videos more interesting so that people will enjoy them more, and if people enjoy your videos more, then YouTube will show them to more people, which of course, as we all know as a YouTube content creator, is a huge win. And we're starting right now. What is going on? My name is Nick. If you want to learn how to grow your channel, make videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Okay, so TechSmith, the company that built Camtasia and a bunch of other tools, they conducted a survey that asked people why they left video content. And the top two reasons were, one, because people were not getting what they expected to get out of the video. And the second is because the videos were just not interesting. So we are going to try to fix that problem for you right now. The very first thing to keep your videos more interesting is, of course, to add additional things to your videos. Here's what I mean. Screen recordings, graphics, B-roll, which I'll explain right here in just a second, and photos are some things that you can add to your videos. When it comes to screen recordings, we're almost into 2022 right now, and people are still recording their screens as just one big static thing. And they're not thinking that, hey, on YouTube, a majority of the watch time is coming from mobile devices, which means that you're doing your screen recordings in a way that people on a mobile phone have to strain and try to figure out exactly what it is that you're doing in your videos. Stop doing that. Not only do you make it difficult just for people to watch and see what you're doing, but you also make it difficult for them to understand what it is that you're doing as well. So instead of having that boring, just one static screen where nothing's moving around and nothing's really happening, they just have this tiny itty bitty little mouse they can follow. For screen recordings, zoom in and out of the areas that you're trying to bring attention to in your video. Add cursor effects that are gonna help people follow your mouse as you're moving it around the screen. Add arrows and squares and highlights and anything else that you can add in order to keep people focused on the thing that they actually came into your video to watch or to learn or whatever it is for the type of content that you make. Camtasia, which I'll link to down in the description, you'll actually save 10% if you use that link. It can help you do all of that, as well as a bunch of other things that some of them I'll mention here later in the video as well. The next thing that you can do to help keep your videos more interesting is to add B-roll to your videos. Now, if you're new to making content, B-roll might be something where you're like, hey, I don't even know what that means. Nick, what does that mean? Tell me what it means. B-roll is where you add additional footage to your videos. So for example, right now while you're watching this video, I can be talking about running down the street and talking about, hey, this is the run that I just did down my street. Or while I'm talking, I can say, this is my run down the street while I'm showing this footage that you're seeing on the screen right now about someone running down the street. This is effective on YouTube because in that example, instead of just me sitting here talking about running, you actually got to see that idea illustrated through that piece of video content that was laid on top of this footage. So when you're putting your videos together, you have your A-roll, which is me talking right now. That would be the A-roll, or you talking in your particular case. And then you have the B-roll, which is the footage that you lay on top of you talking, just like you're seeing on the screen right now, where it just kind of illustrates the idea or it helps break up the scene and make it more interesting. Next on our list, of course, is adding graphics to your videos. Now, graphics can also kind of fall under B-roll, but the idea with graphics is graphics don't always cover up the entire screen. Sometimes graphics will be something that comes in from the side. Sometimes graphics will be something that just kind of pops up while you're sitting here talking to the camera or you're playing your game or whatever it is that you happen to make with your content. For example, a really easy graphic that a lot of content creators use is the little pop-up that pops up to remind people to subscribe. Now, you can get these for free inside of Camtasia. I'm actually working with them to make even more, but the idea is when you pop that up, it not only reminds people to subscribe to your YouTube channel, but it's also something that distracts them a little bit from the other things that are happening in the video, pulls their attention into that thing, and then when it goes away, it helps them re-engage with you or whatever content it is that you're making that is happening under that graphic. When it comes to graphics, you can do simple things like adding text to the screen, which you'll see that we do here all the time in my videos. It can be a full screen graphical overlay with just some text laying on that. It can be diagrams and charts, or if you're a gamer, it could even be a cutout of the character that you are talking about or the character that you're playing with then a bunch of text next to it with arrows pointing to whatever it is that they're wearing or whatever it is that you might be talking about in that particular video. But the idea is adding these types of things to your videos just help break it up so that it's just not boring and static to watch. Camtasia can help you do everything that I just mentioned, adding videos, adding graphics, adding text, adding all of that stuff. Camtasia can help you with that. Again, link in the description. let's move on. Photos is the next thing that you can add to your videos. So when it comes to photos, a lot of people think like, hey, I need to be using these stock websites and things like that, which you can get some really cool images there. And in a lot of cases, they'll be fantastic for you. However, if you're trying to illustrate something, it can just be a photo from your phone. It doesn't matter. But when you are putting the photo on your video, it's helpful if you also have some type of movement with the photo, because then in that case, it's not just a static image. It's just not something that's on the screen that's not moving and that's boring. It's something that has a little bit of motion to it, which makes it a little bit more interesting. In order to do this, you simply add the photo into your video, of course, and then once it's in there, you just apply a slight zoom effect or a slight pan effect in order to be able to add that motion to your photo. Just that one tiny addition of adding a little bit of motion to that photo makes your video more interesting. Camtasia can help you with that too, but you probably already knew that I was gonna say that, didn't you? Next on the list is to be intentional with your audio, because audio is half of the video experience. If your audio sucks to the point to where your bad audio is distracting, people are gonna leave your video. If your audio is good, you're clearly focused in on your voice without a bunch of distracting things going on in the background, then right out of the gate, it's a better perceived quality because it's better quality. And just having better audio by itself in terms of voice audio can make your videos more interesting, but then there's also the other things that you can do on the audio side. For example, adding music to your videos. When you're adding music to your videos, of course, you can play one continuous track if you like, but then it gets more interesting if you have segments of your video and then you add different music for each segment. When you do that, not only do you have different visual things happening in your videos because you're changing things up in terms of what the person's seeing, but you're also changing what people are hearing, which means that you're changing the entire experience that somebody is having through each segment of the video that you're putting together. And as a quick side note, Camtasia also has music that you can use in your videos. But you can also level the whole audio thing up even higher by adding sound effects. And what I mean by sound effects is, let's say that you have a piece of stock footage that you're using in your video of a page turning, right? Somebody turning a page in a book. Well, you could have that where you just have the page turning in the book, but if you add audio to it of a page turning in a book, then in that case, it creates a different experience when somebody's watching it, because then you have the audio matching what people are seeing on the screen. Doing this creates a very subtle effect, but it makes your videos way more interesting and more fun to watch. You can level the sound effect thing up even more by adding atmosphere to that particular moment in the video and all types of additional things with sound effects. That's like a whole video on its own, but the idea is that just through sound design, you can make your videos a lot more interesting as well. The next thing that we have to talk about, of course, is cutting out just a bunch of ums and ahs and cutting out a bunch of empty space that doesn't really add value to the video. In some cases, having space in your edit is perfectly acceptable and actually makes the videos better. But if you don't do that intentionally, then it can actually throw things off and it makes your videos seem extremely amateur, unprofessional, which is also what amateur means, I guess. But most importantly, if you're not intentional about it and you don't cut that sort of thing out, then it just makes your videos hard to watch and people aren't going to continue watching your videos if it's just filled with a bunch of those filler types of things. And just as a quick heads up, I know that you're expecting me to say that Camtasia has that in there, and they do, where you can, do these types of things inside of Camtasia. But TechSmith also makes something, and this part is not sponsored, I'm just adding this because it's a cool tool. They have something called Audiate, which will also help you work with audio and make better audio for your videos as well. I'll put links to Camtasia and Audiate down in the description below. That way you can try them for yourself and see why I recommend their products so much. The next thing on our list is presentation. Now, when it comes to presenting your content, how you communicate in your videos is also gonna make a huge difference on if people find the videos interesting or not. Presentation is so important on YouTube and just in media in general that people hire voiceover artists that sound professional so that they can make their content better. People also hire content creators like you that communicate through their content in engaging ways to make content for them because they also understand the importance of good presentation. So you want to be mindful about how you're communicating through the content that you make. In my opinion, how you communicate and express yourself through your content is one of the most important factors to growing your YouTube channel. So just make sure you're being mindful of how you're presenting your content. Another thing you can do to make your videos more interesting, of course, is to tell stories in your content. Now, by telling stories, I don't mean to say like, hey, the wizard went to this thing and did this and, ran into this, helper along the way. I don't mean like that. What I mean by that is to make the topic of the video itself the story in terms of, I'm taking people through through this story as the actual video itself. Or if your content type doesn't support that, or it's just not something that you want to do, you can also tell stories about just other things while you're going through your content as well. So let's say, for example, that you make videos about lawnmowers, and during your video about the lawnmower and how to fix that particular lawnmower, you can tell a story about, maybe the lawnmower, maybe about your yard or whatever it is, just whatever your story would be that you would be sharing with your audience at that time while you're showing them how to fix this lawnmower. Whatever your story would be relevant to that particular person that would be watching that video about how to fix the lawnmower. But just adding stories to your videos by themselves can make your videos a lot more interesting. I think that's probably why podcasts do so well, is because it's conversations, it's people sharing stories. I think that's why podcasts do so well in the audio versions, but also in the video versions, because you just get to listen to people tell their stories. And I'm sure you would agree that good stories are interesting to listen to. Now look, I also have to talk about the elephant in the room here. So, as we're talking about all of these different things that you can do to make your videos more interesting, there are plenty of videos on YouTube where people just talk to the camera and they do great. That comes from the presentation side of what it is that I was talking about. In addition to that, there's videos where people aren't even talking that do great. And that's where some of these other things that I was talking about in this video come into play in terms of making your videos more interesting that way. But regardless of what the thing is, there's always exception to the rules. But the idea is that when you are first getting started on YouTube, or you're first trying to get, real momentum on YouTube, the idea is that you apply all of these things to what it is that you're doing so you can give yourself the best possible chance while you're still trying to find your voice, while you're still finding your style and getting all of that together. Applying what I'm talking about will help give you the best possible chance to make good quality, interesting content that people respond to well, which will end up doing well on YouTube long term, which is what we are all after. To learn even more about making content, click into this playlist right here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.